All right, we are heading into live. It should be happening any moment.
All right.
All right, hopefully we are, here we go. Hey, everybody. It is so good to see you all. We're excited to have you back on our Tuesday evenings. We've been really thrilled to do this and for all the participation that we've had from all of y'all. So thank you for when you join us live, or even if you're joining us on a replay. We really appreciate your comments and just your interaction in this. So we're really excited tonight because, it's kind of a repeat of last week in the sense that we've got another coaching colleague on tonight. So it's really, really exciting for us. So just to get us going, my name's Ann Barwick, and I am the owner of A Strong You. I do leadership and personal development coaching. And I'm also the co-founder of the Risk Takers Dream Makers Project, which is what's making this all happen right here. With our project, we love to highlight women who have taken risks to pursue their dreams and share their stories with other women. So we really want to encourage all of you out there that have been having a tapping on your shoulder, a dream that you've been wanting to pursue, that we hope you can read these stories and see like the hardships and all that they've had to go through, but still they pursued and they pushed through their fears, and maybe still pushing through them, but they've done it, right? So, so we're really excited about the project. Please check it out. Our website is therisktakersdreammakers.com, and we have tons of stories there from women all over the world. And sign up there for our newsletter. We have a newsletter weekly that highlights a story every week. So each week you can be inspired by these women. So I'd like to introduce one of my favorite Risk Taker Dream Makers, the co-founder of the Risk Takers Dream Makers, Andrea Kiesling, and I'll let her tell a little bit about herself.
Thank you, Ann, and welcome everyone who's joining us tonight. We're so glad you're here to listen to Suzanne's story. She certainly has an inspirational story. We can't wait to jump into that. Like Ann said, my name is Andrea Kiesling, and we simply celebrate and share the stories of everyday women living their dream. And as Ann mentioned, our website, where we have housed tons of stories of women who are doing just that in hopes of inspiring other women to live their dream, and just, go for it. Take a few risks along the way. If you have a story like that, we would love to share and learn your story. So please feel free to reach out. You can comment below, reach out to us on the Facebook page, or sign up for our newsletter. Let us know. We'd love to share your story too. So this type of talk that we've been doing for the last couple of weeks is designed to be interactive, and we love your input. So please feel free to drop questions in the comment box. I'll be responding to that. I'm sure Suzanne's story will elicit tons of questions. So we'll be here monitoring that. Throw it in. Suzanne is kind enough to answer those questions. So like I said, let us know that you're here.
Yeah, let us know you're here. Tell us where you're coming from as well. We love to know what parts of the world we have reached. So if you see Andrea and I glancing off, we're managing the Facebook page and we're getting excited about seeing who all is joining us. But let me introduce our coaching colleague, Suzanne Schilling, and we are just so excited to have her. As you can see, she just stirs up a lot of incredible energy in all of us. Anybody that I say Suzanne's name to, they're like, oh my gosh, she has the best energy ever. So we're really excited to be able to share it with you all tonight. So Suzanne, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself, please.
Oh, it would be an absolute delight. Again, thank you guys. I am so excited to be here because, well, you are hitting one of my top values, fun. So I'm already having fun, so thank you. So a little about me, let's see. I think to start off, I could say that I'm well-versed in the art of relocation, transition, versatility, adaptability, and that's courtesy of the military. I'm an Army brat. traveled around with my father as a young person into young adult. Because of being an Army brat, I attended 10 different schools between kindergarten and high school, lived in 12 different states, also in Central America, and traveled to work in 6 different countries. And that is literally, I base that based on my experience as a military brat that has allowed that to happen. I've spent the majority of my adult working life in the world of finance, in particular on high pressure trading floors. On something that was just shy of a whim in my mid to late 20s, I moved to New York City without a job because, hey, that just seemed like a whole lot of fun. Landed a career in the financial sector, working, believe it or not, for Michael Bloomberg's business, Bloomberg. So after about just shy of a decade, moved down to Charlotte because Charlotte was offering ridiculous amounts of money. So I was lured by the dollar sign to come to the Southeast. But it is a move that I do not regret at all. Now, another piece of the Suzanne Schilling puzzle is that I didn't step inside a church until my late 30s, yet I'm the spouse of a Methodist minister. And if there's anyone out there watching this that knows me from, say, high school or college, they are probably first mouths are drawn and they are now under the table laughing hysterically.
Stories to tell, huh?
Way too many for the time that we have, but there's some good ones. But here's the thing. This gig as a clergy spouse has me spending quite a bit of time in the world, which allows me to see the high pressure that clergy and congregations go through. And there's that word, high pressure, again. But you know, it's funny, even in this wild and taxing environment of trading floors that I worked on, and this wild and taxing environment of churches that I am supporting as the spouse of a minister, I do remain committed to outreach as a volunteer, and in particular, my heart beats for veterans, again, due to the military brat. And I say all of this to you because it's these 3 worlds that beautifully collided and formed my career change in my 50s that became life and leadership coaching. And you know, when you're able to take 3 things that you're so passionate about and put them under one umbrella, oh my gosh, you know, oh my gosh, I couldn't even have dreamed of something that awesome, and yet it happened. And now, regarding my business, it has the very creative, the very original name of Suzanne Schilling Coaching. And my tagline is connecting passion and purpose. I specialize in clergy, those who are considering becoming clergy, congregational leaders. And then I also work with veterans that are transitioning from homelessness to self-sufficiency. Now, the interesting thing about 95% of my clients, none of them pay for these sessions. I've been able to figure out a way to have someone else pay, because let's face it, most clergy, veterans in big transitions, they can't afford it. So I've been able to figure out a way to have others pay. All that being said, as a side note, my clients are diverse. They are diverse with regard to gender, age, race, and culture, and that just makes it that much more fun for me. So that's a little bit about the business self. You know, personally, married for wonderful 18 years to Rick. We have a 27-year-old daughter. She's a graduate student at Johns Hopkins Peabody Conservatory of Music. I am the co-host of a local radio show, although we were recently on a COVID-19 related sabbatical. For those who know music at all, I am a contralto, which means I have a really low voice when I sing. I am a 5-time marathoner. I am a March Madness enthusiast. Go Jayhawks, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. I'm getting ready to serve on the board of directors of a housing coalition for our county, who, for the most part, our county can be called a poor county. What we try and do is get houses that are in disrepair up to snuff, up to code, so that folks can stay in their homes. And then just on a final personal note, my top values are community, fun, truth, respect, and humor. And it's probably in that order. So put another way, these are the things that motivate me to get out of bed. And if I'm true to them, these are the things that all but guarantee that I'm going to have the most fabulous day in the world. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's a big nutshell. That's a lot of stuff that you do, Suzanne. And when you said the name of your company is just Suzanne Schilling, I'm like, oh my gosh, anybody that knows that name packs so much energy. So it's perfect. It's perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's kind of, how we named tonight's talk is harnessing your power and maximizing your potential, which is something that I saw on your website. And as coaches, that's pretty much what we like to do with our clients, right? So there's so many things I'm dying to ask you, but I know one of the things is you say that everyone is exactly where they're supposed to be. And we all have the power to go where we desire. Tell me a little bit about that.
That comes from a true belief that we all have a purpose. And part of that purpose is being aware that we're here for a reason, and understanding that wherever you are in life, whether you are on the mountaintop or in the valley, it serves a purpose, and therefore you're exactly where you need to be right now. It does not mean that you have to stay there. But I think what I'm trying to tell folks is that quit wishing away where you are right now. Grab whatever information you can from it, learn from it, grow from it, and then make a very conscious choice of where you want to go next. So that's what I mean by that.
Yeah, that's really good insight to glean, especially during these times of COVID. Right?
Yeah.
To really know, like, embrace. I know a lot of people say, I don't need a cheerleader when they talk about coaching, and it's not all about being happy all the time. It's embracing the hard things too, and gleaning what you can learn from them, and not trying to get out of those rough spots so fast, right? But to embrace them and feel them and learn from them. So yeah.
Well, absolutely. Just to tag on to what you were saying, something that if many of the clients that I have coached have heard me repeat this mantra, the first step to going from A to wherever it is that you want to be, wherever B may be, is to be aware of where you are right now. Simply be aware. Awareness.
Yeah.
Because unless you're aware of it, how the bleep are you going to be able then to step into acceptance, saying, okay, I'm here for a reason, so forth and so on. And if you can't accept it, how the bleep can you move to making conscious choices of where you want to be? So you have to be aware first. It's always about awareness first. And that's the one that most people skip right over. Yeah. They skip right over it. And they go, how do you know where you want to be if you don't know where you are?
It's what Brene Brown, I love her, where she talks about staying in the messy middle. Like,
yeah.
The longer you can stay in the messy middle, the more you're going to glean from it, the more you're going to get out of it. That was such a hard thing for me to learn, but now I kind of get excited about my dark days.
There you go. Oh my God.
Really tough, but I go, ooh, what's coming from all of this? This is great, because you got to go down to come up, right? Instead of just doing this.
And don't
what a great visual. Something that I've heard from a very wise person is, an EKG, mountain. Okay, what happens when it does this? You're dead. You're dead.
That's good.
There's a reason why we have this.
Yeah.
It's for dead.
And don't Don't you find too, Suzanne, that whenever we try to skip through that messy middle or those low parts, that we don't always learn our lessons? Sometimes we find ourselves right back there.
We find yeah, absolutely, Andrea. We find ourselves escaping.
Yeah.
Escapism.
Hoping.
Hoping. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. You need to do what you need to do to get through it. But you also have to take the time to have that internal dialogue with yourself going, what the heck's going on? Mm-hmm. What triggered this? Why am I so, fear is a big one that I deal with clients. Why am I so fearful? What is going on? Why am I so friggin' angry? So you can figure out the whys. And just as a side note, something that I tell clients, anger is a secondary emotion. There's something that comes before anger. You just don't come out of the gate angry. Mm-hmm. Out of the gate angry for a reason. Fear, isolation, disappointment, sadness, depression. Yeah. So you got to figure out why you're there. And something else, respect where you are. Every emotion you have has room at the table. You just need to decide which one's going to take the head seat for that period of time that you're in there. And you get to choose. Don't ever ignore emotions. The first thing we want to do is get rid of the ugly, what we consider the ugly emotions. Well, what that does is just, we go right back there. It's just this loop that keeps us back until we can settle where we are, why we are, and what we want to do about it.
Yeah, so that's a really powerful thought, that there's this loop, right? I work with that a lot in my clients. And how do you help your clients? Like with my clients, let's say you can intersect that loop at anywhere. It can be the thought, the behavior, the action behind it, the feeling, but you got to intersect it somewhere. How do you intersect that kind of replaying loop to change it with your clients?
I use a lot of times I'll use a simple technique of, especially with new clients who aren't used to coaching, because coaching is action driven, self-directed action. For newer clients, it's hard for them to first jump on that, like, oh, what the crap am I going to do? So I will assign field work, homework, whatever they like to call it. And a lot of times, believe it or not, it's journals for those who like to write and Post-it notes for those who don't. I love it. The goal is to find patterns, because again, it goes back to that awareness piece. Until you figure out the pattern of what's going on to trigger you, so you figure out the pattern, you can't solve the problem. And then you get stuck in this. Mm-hmm. It's the gerbil and the hamster wheel. Self-created hamster wheel. So yeah, it always goes back to awareness. And normally it goes back to either jotting notes or writing and then analyzing it, taking the time to say, what's the date? What's the day? What's the emotion? What's the trigger? What am I feeling? And then, holy crap. It happens every Tuesday before this meeting. Whatever. Yeah. The heavens open up and the angels sing.
Yeah. Not to put us out of a job or anything, but for those that can't afford coaching or therapy, truly writing, it's a way of releasing. I was just talking to a client about that today. And if we try and stuff down those things that we're scared of, they grow in power. Believe it or not, they grow in power. So, but when we talk about it, that's what's so great in coaching and therapy. And you talk about it and you express it, it releases its power. And you can do that, just like you said, even just putting it on your sticky notes and journaling is a really huge release for that.
Yeah, I mean, the brain's a beautiful thing. The brain does exactly what we tell it to do. It's simplistic. So if we want to rewire something, we just have to keep, I don't believe in faking it till you make it. I do not believe in that. I'm probably one of the few that don't believe in that. But we can wake up every morning and find one thing we're grateful for. We can wake up every morning and find one affirmation about ourselves that we can affirm within ourselves. We can each morning at least set an intention for the day. And when we do that, simply that simple act, the brain starts to rewire, gratitude, affirmation, intention, love.
Yeah. I read somewhere that we are the only species that we can change their mindset.
Yeah, there you go. Get a little science geeky on me. I love it. I love it. Yeah,
So
we control our joy.
yeah.
Yes, there are crappy things happening. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. And you need to process that, and you need to feel what you need to feel. But at the end of the day, you have to choose. You have to choose. How will it affect me tonight? How will it affect me tomorrow? What do I want to do about it? And you know what? Your choice is your choice.
That's right.
You get to decide. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no good, there's no bad. You get to decide what you want to do with this information and how you want to proceed.
Yeah, and just like you said before, like we're all exactly where we need to be. So whatever that choice is, it's there's some kind of learning for us that we need to get at that moment through that.
Yeah, or maybe we need to feel. If we're the type that maybe we just do need to feel. There is nothing, excuse my language, there's nothing with getting pissed off on occasion. Because when you get pissed off, you're at least moving.
That's
You know,
right.
you're at least moving. Clients that I find that are rather apathetic and they're just going, what the heck? Sometimes I will intentionally tick them off just to get them moving, get them out of it. And they, you know, they throw a little temper tantrum, and by the end of the session, they go, man, that felt good.
It's like if they're flatlining, you give them a little resuscitation that like kicks them up.
And it hurts a little bit. It hurts.
There's some motivation.
No, again, these are with clients that I know a little better,
Of course.
that know me a little better, that we've built that trust. I wouldn't do that coming out of the gate.
Suzanne,
as
kick
clients-
your butt.
As clients get to know me, they can appreciate sometimes the unexpected.
So Andrea, how's it going over there on Facebook?
Yeah, we're good. We've got several people tuned in. And again, just reminding viewers to fill in some questions if you have any for Suzanne. I have one for you, Suzanne. One of the biggest motivators and one of the reasons that Anne and I started this project is we both are, you know, curious about people and their stories, and those that are living their dream. That for me, that's been forever a curiosity of mine, is how do you get to the place where you love what you do every day? And that's where you are, Suzanne. You talked about how your values so perfectly align with the three things that you're offering in your coaching practice. I mean, can you talk to us a little bit about, maybe explain to those that are watching some of the steps that you took, or maybe the practices, or maybe it was even a mindset that you had that allowed you to align your values with what you are doing now every day?
Sure. With your permission, I'd like to just step back a little bit and tell you how I got to coaching.
Yes.
In my husband's profession before the current church he's in, he worked as at a large nonprofit that worked with veterans, and so I found myself in the veterans' presence quite a bit. And as that trust was built, just as a volunteer, just as someone who showed up as the first lady of Pastor Rick, you know, just being there, questions, inquiries, all this, and I was like, oh, I'm not prepared. I didn't feel that I had enough tools in my toolkit to really serve these gentlemen well. You know, small talk, great at, you know, some situations, okay, but then as we built more trust, the insights, the desire for assistance got deeper. So I came home one night before going to bed, and I said, Rick, you know, crazy idea came into my head. I said, what do you think about me going back and taking some classes on coaching so that I can then give it away to these vets? And he literally stopped in his tracks and said, yes. So the first thing is I had someone who, without any hesitation, believed in me. Like, yes, don't pass go, we'll figure it out. So I started, and I found that throughout the training program, every time I walked away from training, I realized, oh, golly day, okay, this is going to be what I do in retirement for a job. And then I would come home and go, no, this is what I'm going to do in 5 years. And then so the burn and desire just through the education kept upping my timeline. And I think one of the things I didn't do, Andrew, was I didn't fight it. I didn't second guess it. I trusted myself enough to say, if this is coming here and here, there's some validity to it, fight it. So once I said, okay, I'm going to do this as I can, then my strategy was very elaborate. And when I say that, it was tell any friggin' body that would wanted to hear, what do you do for a living? And I told them. And I remember going to one of the trainers and saying, is it ethically okay while in training to tell folks I am a coach? And she said, absolutely. So anybody who said, okay, I do. So that's what it was. Yeah, and then I had a phone call on something completely different. We were working on a missions project and blah, 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 blah. And I just said, you know what, as a friend, I'd love to hear your feedback. And I told her, I said, I have a dream of coaching clergy. And I know that's difficult. I said, I would just, you're clergy, what do you think? She closed the door to her office and said, you got 2 weeks, give me a business proposal, get all your initials behind your name, write me a resume. You got 2 weeks. Can you do it? Back of my head was going, hell no. Absolutely. And so I worked with training program with student support to make sure that I don't know if I jumped to the head of the line, but I think I jumped to the head of the line to get certified. And I got my first contract, which I still have to this day, that gets renewed every year to coach clergy. So I guess my bottom line was, I think it was more of mindset and saying yes to the universe every time it opened up a door. Just say yes, just say yes. Quit second guessing yourself. Just say yes, just say yes. And you know what? By saying yes, here I am today, 2 years later. Who would have thunk?
Great advice. Just say yes.
Time to play and time to have fun and time to live into a purpose. And from a faith-based perspective, what many people call it is a calling. I've never had a calling. And one of the things that I so enjoyed about my husband is that he had a calling. I thought, God, that's cool. Now I have one. Now I know what it feels like. So yeah, no secret sauce other than just having a really big mouth and saying yes a lot.
Being open to the universe and what it's sending you, right?
Yeah.
I like when you say you're aligned with your heart too.
Yeah.
Not getting into overthinking it, which is kind of makes sense.
That can be hard to do for some people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That makes sense with saying yes to so many things, right?
Yes, it does take, it takes a lot of trust into the process. That whole trust, it takes a lot of trust in the process. It has to be a willingness to be told no over and over again. I can't say that I've experienced that, but it has to trust the process that I'm a big enough girl that I can handle whatever comes my way. So, it's a whole lot of attitude.
Well, that's why you're going so far, girl. You've got it. Energy, attitude.
Positive attitude, not snarky attitude, positive attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, well, as we kind of wrap this up, I know Andrea has one last question for you. And if, I see Jennifer Bluezone. Hey, Jennifer. Aw. And then we want to know how to find you. How can people connect with you? So first tell us that. Where can people find you online? Do you have a website? That kind of stuff.
Yes, I have Suzanne Schilling on the Wix site. So just Google my name under Wix and you'll find me. I am in LinkedIn under Suzanne Schilling Coaching. And then of course you can find me on Facebook under Suzanne Schilling Coaching. But I will be very honest with you. I don't go into Facebook, but maybe 5 to 10 minutes a day in the morning. That's it. So that's your main form of communication. Be patient with me because I don't spend a whole lot of time on it.
Well, I love your Wednesday posts, by the way, on Facebook.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy that, and they resonate with me and kind of set my Wednesdays off right. So I look forward to seeing what you post tomorrow. No pressure.
You get to see what I'm thinking about. What's going on in this noodle that I put down in a few words. So you get into the brain of Suzanne Schilling when you read a post. For good or for ill, you get a little bit of me.
Yeah, I love that. I love getting that piece of you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I think Andrea is adding it up or writing it up there.
I'm putting it up now. So take a look at the last, let's see, yeah, the last comment where I said, Google the name Suzanne Schilling, find you there. And Suzanne, as we wrap up, again, we want to thank you for being on and spending this time with us. Always a breath of fresh air and a good energy boost being with you. Tell us and our viewers just one last final bit of wisdom that you can share with us that you think would most impact us all.
Okay. Here's the thing. Each of us is here for a reason. We have our own unique gifts and talents. We each have much to offer the world, and simply by being here, you are valuable. The secret sauce is to figure out your purpose and then connecting it to community, whatever community looks like to you. There's no definition of community. And I know that all sounds very lovey and whooshy and la la la, but it also can leave you kind of scratching your head like, yeah, go to it, Buddha. So I want to encourage people to ask themselves 3 questions when they are trying to understand what I mean and how to put it into play. What are you good at? What are you good at? Be honest. What are you good at? Brag about yourself. Second question is, what do you love to do? And the reason why you need to ask both of those is because what you're good at does not necessarily mean you love it. What you love doesn't necessarily mean you're good at it. So ask those 2 questions honestly. And then the final question, what breaks your heart? And with those 3 answers are intertwined into a beautiful tapestry that might help you connect to your passion and therefore to your purpose.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm gonna like write that and journal on that one tonight. Yeah, I've never heard it put that way with those 3 things together. So that's really powerful.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you, Suzanne, so much for joining us and taking time out of all of the busyness that you have and that you and your husband do. We really appreciate it. And it just made my Tuesday night.
Oh, it was so lovely being with both you and Andrea and Anne. Thank you so much for this invitation. I cannot express my gratitude enough.
All right. Night, everybody. Thanks for joining us out there, and share this with anybody you like and spread the news. I think there were so many great insights to glean from this. So
thank you. Love to you both.
Thank you.